Hey guys, it's Stephen here, back with another video. The day after Manchester City's 0-0 draw, ultimately forgettable, but satisfying 0-0 draw against FC Porto. I know what you're thinking, satisfying really, but personally, I took plenty of good things from that game, and overall, really, in the kind of grand scheme of things, I think City's performances have been pretty decent recently, and I think this was another step in the right direction, and of course, it got the job done, which is the only thing that really matters when we're assessing this game. And today, I'm going to look through 5 things that I personally took through this game, and go through a few notable talking points, because I think there was genuinely some decent stories from this. And I've got to start with Mr. Ruben Dias. I have to start there. Dias is an absolute rock. Such a good defender that his instincts even kind of snuck in as he was attacking as well, clearing off the line there. Very unfortunate. But I wanted to basically talk about Ruben Dias, because even though we've talked about him a fair bit already, I really wanted just to hammer home once again just how good this guy has been and just how good this guy can actually be for Manchester City overall. Honestly, he's ridiculously good. He's really, really good. I mean, Garcia alongside him. Garcia's he's all right player, you know. Personally, I don't really rate him that highly, but I think he even passed the kind of like Garcia test, you know, as well. Garcia looked even better alongside Dias. Stones looked better alongside Dias. Laporte looks good alongside Dias. I know he made some mistakes recently, but largely, pretty much anyone who plays alongside Dias looks better. And that is only a credit to Ruben himself as an individual. I'm getting very much Vincent Kompany vibes from that personal aspect. Vincent was very good at making players around him essentially rise to his demanding standards. And we're seeing a guy who's come over here and who's probably barely had any time to actually train and learn new things at Manchester City, by the way, because he's been straight into game preparation constantly. No time to have one-to-one focused training, because obviously there's literally no time given all the games the City playing at the moment. He's had none of that time, and yet he still looks so goddamn good. I mean, he's only going to get it better as well. I can't see any reason why he won't improve more and more with time. And I absolutely love the guy. And his age as well. He's like still so young. I think he's 23 years old, still correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty certain he's still 23, which is ridiculous. Like, for a centre-back, he's basically still a kid as far as centre-backs go. He still could win the Young Player of the Year award. And he plays like such a mature, senior professional, bossing players around who are older than him. I absolutely love the guy. I think he's absolutely changed our defensive fortunes. And he's already looking like a snip at that price that we paid him. And of course, as well, it meant that we moved Otamendi on and got him instead. It's been a fantastic signing so far. Speaking of leaders and senior figures, Fernandinho, man, he's fab, isn't he? Absolutely love Fernandinho. I thought he was good last night. Obviously, I'm not saying he was world-class last night or anything like that, but there was a warm sense of familiarity that swept over me last night as I watched Fernandinho play. It felt so comforting knowing that he's there, that he's in that team, and he's there to snuff out those fires, or he's there to win any of those physical battles in the middle of the park, and he still looked like he's got absolutely loads to offer. But we really need to wrap Fernandinho in cotton wool and play him when we need him in games like this, because he's still got it. No, he's not at his highest level, but he's definitely still got it in him to be useful. Put it this way, I would play Fernandinho against United in a couple of weeks, because he's still got so much to offer to this side. He's still got so much wily experience, and his range of passing as well. A couple of balls in particular over the top were absolutely fantastic. And the way he deals with like Porto's snidiness, there's no one better at that. He's ultimately charming with the referee. Referee doesn't want to book him because he's so charming, but he's also just nasty enough when he needs to be to put a foot in and go, stop it. You do it to us, I'll do it right back to you. And that's what I love about Fernandinho. He's just so reassuring. And having Dias there and Fernandinho there, when he got a bit battly, there was no one better to deal with than those two. And I love the fact that we've got his experience to call on. Of course, it only drives home how much of a loss it's going to be when he's not there, probably. But it was great to see Fernandinho showing that, like a fine wine, he just seems to get better with age, and he's still got loads to offer. There was also some really encouraging signs last night for Bernardo Silva. Genuinely, I thought Bernardo was good. I know it's a very controversial take at the moment, given Bernardo hasn't been in good form, but last night, I can only really call a spade and say that Bernardo was genuinely good last night. I mean, if we find something approaching Bernardo's best form again, it just transforms our team, especially given what I've just mentioned with Dias being a leader, and Fernandinho being everywhere, and then Bernardo running everywhere as well. But it wasn't just the fact that Bernardo last night was running everywhere. He was doing that as he always does, of course, even when he's not in form. But there was signs last night of his silkiness. that magic returning as well. There's a couple of runs where he darted and dragged back and run through players. And there's a couple of beautiful through balls as well. Of course, he probably should have had an assist as well. A little bit unlucky to be robbed of assist for Gabriel Jesus. And overall, I thought he was good. I thought he was really good. There were signs of ingenuity mixed with, once again, that work rate and that desire. If he can keep playing his way back into form, there's absolutely no reason that we can't see the Bernardo of old. I know he's got an awful long way to go, and I know he's eroded the trust of a lot of people over the past year. Understandably, but that player is still in there somewhere. He still has that touch, he still has that magic, and he's still pretty young in general, so I've got no reason to doubt that he can find it again. We have to make sure Bernardo is given all the room he can to find that form again, because when he's in that kind of form, he's just so useful to the team. Energy, intelligence, skill, tenaciousness. Is that a word? Tenaciousness? Tenacity, there's the word. Tenaciousness, which is wonderful to see. Likewise, Phil Foden. Guardiola was so effusive of Phil Foden last night. To be honest, in my initial match reaction, I think obviously I was doing the watch along, so I was a little bit distracted. I thought Foden was alright, but not that impressive. But I've watched back bits of it now, and I've seen some of the things Foden did, and I've actually recalled some of the moments, like his through ball to Sterling around the back. And I just thought, actually, Foden played what would have been 2 world-class assists last night. And it was more than that as well. It was more about his link-up play with Ferran Torres at times. I loved his give and goes with Zinchenko and Ferran Torres and those around him. It's just like his spatial awareness is so good at times. And he's only 20 years old. And I honestly think he's one of our best players when he's in the team these days. Pretty much always, if I'm being honest. The thing I love about Foden is you can tell that he's growing and growing and growing physically as well, of course, but in confidence and maturity as every single game passes. I mean, all we need now is Guardiola to put that trust in Phil Foden. Play the guy, Guardiola. It's not complicated. I keep saying this. But Foden, he's ace. He's absolutely ace, and he's one of our own. He's got movement, he's got work rate, he's got pace, he's got skills, he's got passing ability. I do think Foden, when he fully develops, he's going to be some kind of hybrid of David Silva and Kevin De Bruyne, and God knows who else. But basically, he's going to have like the dribbling ability of Bernardo and your Silvas. He's going to have the passing and finishing of Kevin De Bruyne, and he's going to be basically Phil Foden as well, his own unique take on everything. I love the guy, absolutely love the guy, and I honestly think he's becoming one of the best attacking midfielders in the country already, despite no one really noticing it. Give him the chance to prove. Keep playing him in the team, because we're always a better team when he's in it, and I love Phil Foden. And finally, to be honest, I just wanted to talk about the mentality of the team last night. I really thought it was good. I know we weren't at our fluid best in terms of creativity at any point, but what I loved about the team is that I feel like last season we would have lost that game 1-0. I genuinely feel like we would have conceded more chances, but the team now just seems so gritty, so determined, so focused. I don't get any worries now when the team steps onto the pitch that they won't battle. The last few games I've seen City really kind of step up in terms of their physicality, which has been really reassuring. And I think we've got 6 clean sheets out the last 8 as well. This is a team that does not like to concede goals, makes it very hard to concede goals, and as the proof is in the maths there, I guess, 6 clean sheets in 8. And also seems to have a little bit of nastiness and a bit of bite to them when they need to be, and that was evident last night against Porto. Now, I'm not saying we're sold and we're going to win the league and blah 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 blah, etc. etc. But what I'm saying is that this team is taking steps in the right direction, and you can see, in my personal opinion, the influence of Guardiola refocusing maybe in the training ground starting to have an effect. The team looks a lot more focused, a lot more aggressive, and the intensity and the work rate has definitely gone up a notch recently. We just have to make sure that we keep playing to that same level of commitment and desire, and the results will come. Last night we absolutely battered Porto at times. First half was a little bit of a write-up, but we were still the better team. The second half, I don't know how we didn't score. We were all over them. And to be honest, on another night, that's a 2-3-0 performance, and everyone goes, that was just good. That was damn good, The only thing that was denied there was the goals, I guess. But everywhere else, I couldn't really, call or question their commitment. And that's the one thing you see a lot about teams. That's what's kind of thrown at them when they're not winning. The players are lazy, or they don't care, or the motivation is gone, and all that kind of stuff. And if I'm being honest, I don't really think that's ever true of winners. I mean, I don't think the players will be lazy. Maybe they've lacked a little bit of maybe they've kind of got used to repetition, and maybe they've lost the edge a little bit, but it doesn't mean they're lazy. It doesn't mean they don't care. But sometimes you can need that kick up the arse. And I do honestly believe that Guardiola has given that, and I do actually think they're reacting to it, which is all you want to see. I'm slightly encouraged. Of course, there is a long way to go at the moment, but we got through the group. It wasn't a classic game by any stretch of the imagination, but it was a performance against a very tough physical team to play, a very nasty physical team to play. And by the way, you've seen Porto moaning on Twitter for fuck's sake, man. They are salty. It's salty, and then there's like, they are ocean water right in your mouth. It's that salty. It's horrible. But that's reading Porto's tweets. I mean, reading their newsletters and stuff. It's a horrible club at times. But overall, they are 5 things that I personally took from the game. I was encouraged by that, and wasn't a classic, but I saw enough signs there to suggest that City are getting back onto the right track, and hopefully, after we rested all those players, we can take another step in the right direction this weekend against Fulham. Guys, go check out my match reaction for video last night. I want to say thank you as well to my Patreons, patreon.com/Esteemed Kompany. And as well, there is a match ratings video over for second tier Patreons and YouTube members, where it's the bonus content where I've done the match ratings from last night. So go and check that out. It'll be on the Patreon page or the YouTube community page if you've got the relevant tier and all that kind of stuff. Thank you to everyone involved, by the way. It helps support the channel. I really, really appreciate it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all the usual things. City are through. Top of the group, that'll do. But now go watch the match reaction video from last night, which will be on screen right now, and we'll see you in a bit.